Hello, my name is Jason. I just had some thoughts to share about what it means to really be yourself and how to live that in your everyday life, even when it seems like you may not be able to. I'm not an expert, but I have lived and experienced these kinds of things in everyday life, and I know the difference between what it means to really be who you are and to not. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who are who they are, and there's a lot of people who aren't. And everybody is something, something or many things, but nonetheless, people are who they are. And I just wanted to help explain how you can be more of who you are in everyday situations, places where it may not seem like you couldn't be who you are. And I think for a lot of people, the most common place people feel like they can't be themselves might be, it could be a few different places, but I'll start with the workplace. Um, it's usually an environment where you feel like you have to kind of be a certain way just because you're in whatever work environment you're in. And from my experience, it has nothing to do with where you're at or who you're around. The only thing you can ever really ever do, period, is to be who you are in each moment. And it can be hard. It's not something that's necessarily super easy to start with if you're not used to it. But I have been able to be more and more myself in all aspects of my life, workplace included. And it just works. It's really hard to explain. That's definitely one thing about it is what I'm saying can't ever replace experience or what you discover on your own, but it can definitely help guide you to those points in your life if you haven't already felt that way. And if you have, then that's great. Then what I'm saying you understand and it makes sense, and that's good. But really, the solution to things in life is that you have to be willing to be who you really are and continue to try that and to be that in all aspects of your life, even if it's not an environment or an aspect that's your first choice. Like for me right now, I work in a retail environment. It's not maybe necessarily my first choice that I would do, but I am still myself when I go in there. And I continue to be myself as I go in there, and things are fine for me. And everybody is different, and there isn't one way you have to be. It's just whatever you know what works best for you. And people will say, oh, well, what works best for me is to not do anything. And while there is some truth to that, you never have to do anything. But if you really let yourself do what you naturally feel you can do, you find that you'll be doing things where it doesn't feel like you're making yourself do something because it feels like it's happening on its own, yet you're doing it. And like I said, this kind of stuff is very hard to explain because it comes down to living it and doing it and experiencing it and going through life in that way. So there's only so much that I can really say about it before you have to just put it into action. But what helps is, d- depending on how comfortable you feel, you can start out fast, you can start out slow, but know that sometimes things do just take time, and sometimes things don't. Sometimes things happen really quickly. It just depends on the circumstances, depends on your own personal perspective, depends on what's going on in your environment. So if something's not happening quickly, it's okay. The important thing is that you're making a conscious effort to make some kind of change if you feel like that you could be more of yourself. And there's all kinds of things where I don't think about things, and then all of a sudden, okay, I think about something, and it's like, oh, well, I never looked at it that way before, and that becomes more of myself than it was before, and that's just going to happen. That's stuff that has happened in my life many times, and it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing because you just keep going, and you know what that means when you reach an evolution point, and you just keep going. It doesn't feel like anything other than just a natural progression or natural growth in your life. And relating it back to being who you are in a workplace environment, it can be very tough at first if you feel like you're putting on a front, you're trying to put on a certain persona while you're there, that you feel like I'm this person at work, and then when I'm not at work I'm this person. You're the same person no matter what you're doing, and you're the only one who can overcome that idea of yourself in that way. Nobody else can do that. I can't get you to do that other than what I'm doing right now, just by saying, hey, here's what you can really do. You as an individual have to overcome that on your own. Nobody else can truly do that for you. But there are ways in which you can utilize, like what I'm saying or what other people say. There's countless books, countless videos, countless sound clips that talk about this kind of stuff, and all of it is good reference material. Ultimately, the best material out there on that kind of stuff doesn't tell you, hey, this is what you have to do. When it does the right kind of thing, the right kind of guidance, it's only guiding you to help you understand that you're the only one who can really change on your own, who can really bring yourself to yourself in all situations of your life. And another environment that makes me think that maybe people can't be themselves in is when they're around family. And not everybody has this issue, but for some people they do, and it is unfortunate. But it's the same thing where you just have to be who you are in whatever situation you're in, and people might misconstrue that. And when I say be who you are, and who you really feel you are, I don't feel that people are truly violent or truly trying to cause harm. I don't feel that one's real naturalness really needs to express that, because when you really can feel like, hey, this is who I am, it's doing good, it's doing positive things, it's bringing positive energy, it's not deliberately trying to do anything negative. So really hone in on who you feel you are. And who you are can be one thing, it can be many things. It's just whatever it is, That's who you are. That's who you are no matter what situation you're in. It doesn't matter if you're at work, with your family, whatever you're doing, you are who you are no matter what you're doing. And the only person that can allow you to really be that is you. And like I said, there's all kinds of reference material that can help guide you to that, and I hope that this video does that too. That is the point of me recording this video, is to provide one extra thing out there that can help guide you to that. Because I really do feel that a lot of the problems out there come from people just not being who they really are. Because when you are who you really are, at least in my life, there's a huge amount of acceptance to things. It doesn't mean you accept things and you have to agree with everything, or that you can't change something, or that you're not able to make some kind of change for something. It doesn't mean you agree with stuff, but the more you are who you are and accept that, you can be accepting of a lot more in the world. And there's a lot of people out there who just are coming from ego. They want things, they want certain things in their life, they want people to do certain things, anything along those lines. It will never ever give you the satisfaction that you're ever looking for unless you can honestly be who you feel you really are. And until you do that, nothing will ever bring you any kind of real happiness. Every time you spend doing things in the egotistical fashion, it will always decay at some point. It just does. Even if it is years and years down the road, it will decay. It just doesn't work. The more you be who you are, the more you find the right kind of things come into your life, and that's what you really want. And for me, those things do happen, and at the same time, things change all the time. And when things change, you have to know, okay, this is the natural progression of what I'm doing, and you know if it's something you don't need to go towards or not. Sometimes things happen and you can know, okay, I don't need to do that right now, and that's totally fine. That's what's natural to do, is to not go towards something. You have to trust your instincts, so to say. You have to trust yourself, and you have to trust your own ability to understand that in yourself, or you will not get to where you really need to be. And sometimes that does take time, sometimes it doesn't. But the process is the same, where you have to understand as best you can who you are, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And you have to understand that things will change, and you have to be accepting of when things change naturally, and you have to be accepting of when you know that you're going to change naturally, or when you're not going to change naturally. And I will go ahead and end that there. But there's many things that can branch off of this, which I will hope to follow up with this. But this kind of gets a general perspective on being who you are is all that really matters. It's all that you can really do. And it's really what people are searching for, I believe, when there's a lot of things going on in the world, and all those things will continue to go on. But the kinds of problems that we really face, that are really continuous problems that are really consistent problems that just recur over and over again are coming from people who I believe are not really being themselves. And instead of accepting that, they're trying to make something happen that's not there and that will never be there. And if you come out of that, if you just come out of that, which is what awakening is basically, you awaken to what you are, who you are, however you want to word it. You are something naturally. Everybody is that. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your family history is, what your family's like, what your friends are like, how you were brought up in a certain environment. It has nothing to do with that truly at the core of it. You have to understand who you are and allow yourself to say, this is who and what I am. And I guarantee you that what that is nothing bad. It's nothing negative. Nobody is truly somebody who's trying to cause harm to others. So I urge you to do what you can to understand that if you haven't already felt that way. And to those who do feel that way, then you understand what I'm saying. And to those who are saying maybe, oh, well, maybe I don't know, or how can I, make this happen more? I would suggest writing or typing, some form of writing, and just repeatedly asking the question, who am I, or what am I? What is it that I really, truly, despite what anybody or any organization or what any person says, who am I really? And that can be anything. There's no limit to it. Just use your imagination and come up with whatever you can. Doesn't have to make sense. It can make sense. It can be a combination of things. It can be one thing. It can be many things. It can be whatever it is. Just be honest with yourself about it as to what it really is. And let that come out of you and let it sink in, and also give it some time to really sink in, because sometimes these new changes take a little bit of time. So I suggest just let it sink in. And this is just for you. You don't have to feel like you have to share this with anybody, discuss it with anybody. You don't have to do that. You can if you want. That's totally up to you. But I would suggest let yourself truly ask yourself, is this something that I want to just do for myself? Do I want to do it for myself and discuss it with people? But ultimately, this is your journey. This is not anybody else's. So it is whatever you're comfortable with in that. But write down as much as you can, type as much as you can, or record your voice, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. As long as you feel like you're allowing yourself to express, this is who I am, this is what I am. That kind of change in writing it down or whatever fashion allows that change to take effect in your consciousness, in your being, in your life. And I promise you that you will see those changes, but sometimes it takes time, and there's no amount of time that it takes. It's not going to take exactly 2 days or exactly a week. It just depends. But let it seep into your life, and when you're doing activities that you may not favor completely, just think about it. Just think about, okay, well, who am I? Like, even though I'm doing this activity, it's not my favorite, but who am I? I mean, am I this person that I was writing about the other day? Is that still me, or does it change? And if it changes, that is totally okay. It's going to happen. It's happened for me many times. There's been many changes many times in my life, and there will continue to be. The important thing is that you're there to understand if you need to go a new direction or not. And when you're aware of that, that's what's more important. I know that I said I was going to end the video a little bit ago, but I did want to add that in there because it is important. And I do write stuff down. I do type stuff. I think about stuff. I talk about stuff. I do all of it. Just do what you think works for you at the time, and sometimes that changes. Sometimes you want to just think about it. Sometimes you want to write about it. Sometimes you want to talk about it to somebody. That is totally fine. It is up to you to understand what you are, who you are, and how you want to translate that and live in the world. And I promise you that it's something positive. It's something that you feel good about. It's something that creates positive energy. And it's something that happens naturally. You don't have to force it. And I urge you to keep understanding that about yourself if you haven't already. And you will be able to see how you can be in situations you maybe don't personally favor completely, but you can understand, okay, I don't like this situation, but I'm still myself and I can still deal with it. And I will try to make a video that goes into that deeper at some point, but for now, that's all I will say. I appreciate you listening and watching, and I really hope this helps. I really believe in it, and I know that it works because it's worked in my life. So try those things out, or don't, whatever is natural to do. Sometimes you just know, okay, I don't need to do that. I can think about it and I can go out and do that. That's fine. Do it. Whatever is natural to you to do, that is the ultimate point, is whatever you feel is natural. And I guarantee you that that will never be a true negative kind of thing. So, thank you. And that is all for now.